Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I have a good rack. I've got the first blank. And I should have a bingo here. A slight preponderance of vowels, and the duplicate O isn't great. I think rootage is good, but I suspect there may be some other bingos. Let me just check rootage so I know I've got it in my back pocket. Yes, it's fine. I might as well use this time to look for alternatives. Okay, so rootage does play. It plays in row G, making go and E. Do I have anything down from the O or onto it? I don't. OE only takes an S after it. Can't see a bingo there. So rootage is going to score the most. And since an R only takes an E underneath it, I think there is unlikely to be a much better word. So a good start with a bingo. And I draw a balanced rack with the Z. No bingo here. I do have an E for going underneath the R. So do I have a play in row H using the E and the Z? Not sure that I do. So what else is available for the Z? Not much around the end of rootage. Rootage only takes an S, as does OE. Z could go on top of double E, but it doesn't get doubled or tripled. It would be nice to play off one of B and P. They don't go well together. They're not particularly bingo-y. So I'm looking for a Z play using one of the B and the P, because I don't think there's going to be a play using all three of those tiles. So I could play pos and P, but the score is weak. Wow. Good response from my opponent. Straight in with a bingo. Has he provided any new spots for my Z? Well, I could play Zap, keeping bone. That's going to score well, and it's not going to give an awful lot of scoring response with the Z to my opponent, simply limited to a three-letter play in row B. From a T, I would have Topaz. I can't see anything in row H onto this N using the Z. And I think I do need to play the Z. One option would be a play beginning B or P on this double letter square. A five-letter play beginning B or P and using the Z. Can't see such a play. Okay, so this is what I had in mind. Zap for 42 points. Always good to score over 40 points with a non-bingo. Am I missing something better? What about a play in column 5? So Zona would fit there. No, SA not good. I'm going with Zap. No duplicates, but too many scoring tiles which lack synergy. However, I have 2 vowels, which is better than 1, so I hope to be able to score well and leave a decent rack leave. I've still got an E for going underneath the R, but since the double letter square has been covered, that's not a hugely valuable spot. So I could play Bren there. 18 points or 19 points, not very many, and it's only burning one of my scoring tiles. The C is the most bingo-y of B, C and P. .28 points. Opponent opens up column 1. Not particularly useful for my scoring tiles. However, were I to play there, I could play Ob. Actually, P and C don't go disastrously together. 28 points, not bad. Do I have a play in column 3, a 5-letter play beginning B or P? Well, I do. I have Bonce. 33 points, that's more points. The Ratcliffe. Well, tricky. The score difference between Ob and Bonce is not very much, about 5 points. Now, after Ob, I'm keeping CENPR. I prefer Bonce. I think that's one too many consonants. After Ob, to go with just one vowel, there's a huge risk of a 6-consonant, 1-vowel rack. I think this is overall a better play. That looks like it has some potential. Prevent, not good. The A of rootage is quite a useful floater. Quite a lot of tiles go in front of OE. So I have repaved in that spot. Not a bingo. Now OE quite hot for a double-double beginning with the S. I don't have one of those. Bonds just takes an S. Nothing goes in front of the C, so there isn't a high-scoring play in column 2 beginning on this triple letter square. Opponent's play of histones has burnt 2 of the S's, but still 2 to come. Now, I could play served. 20 points and placing an E in column 8, not good, really. Repaved, well, just doesn't score enough. Now, what about a play over the top of rootage? My V can go in front of double E, and E can go in front of go to make ego. I can't see any PEV plays. I could play perv or perved. Interesting. Bose takes an E in front, an A in front. I don't have one of those. Now, what I do have is perv down here and prev. Is there a way of getting the V doubled? I don't think so. So prev for 38 and an okay Ratcliffe just about. 2 consonant Ratcliffes are never magnificent. Yeah, so 38 points. Horrendous. I've drawn 5 consonants and my lead is only about 40 points. That is dreadful. However, this A of rootage now looks quite attractive. I could play drawn in column 7. It doesn't score a huge amount, but the score in Ratcliffe is certainly better than changing. It splits up the duplicate D, it burns the W, and it takes out 4 of these 7 consonants, which is really what I'm looking to do. A 3-consonant leave is much better than a 4-consonant leave. Now, I hope that spot will remain available. Wow. I was hoping my opponent might play around the M, but I wasn't expecting a bingo. So 80 points, and he burns the second blank, and he moves into a 31-point lead. So quite a tight game. And I'm sitting here with 7 consonants. Is there a better spot than the A of rootage? Double E, not a better spot. So, drawn for 16. Not a good Ratcliffe, but if I draw some vowels, I could get lucky. I don't. I draw 1 vowel, and the F is non-bingo-y. And I trail by 15 points. So, what to do here? I guess if I can play off the F and the G, what will be left will be quite bingo-y. So a play of flog would leave DST. Drawn has killed the double-double lane, which, although I'm behind, I'm not massively behind, so while my rack is fairly non-bingo-y, it's quite useful to not unnecessarily increase the volatility of the board. Now, good score for my opponent, 30 points. He's now 45 points in the lead. And do I have a spot for flog? Flog and fee? What about column 5? Does anything go after bows that I have? Only the S. I don't want to burn that. With both blanks gone and 2 S's, this S increases in value. Tharley has provided quite a few useful floaters, which I'd like to leave available. The trouble with flog is that it places the O in column 11 and makes it very easy for my opponent to score, and it doesn't score very much. 14 minutes on my clock. So where else can I play the F and the G? The F could go, well, I could play of and if, keeping 5 consonants. Pretty poor. I'm just wondering about playing through double E, retaining my O. I would have fodgel through an E, which is quite fancy. L goes after double E. Well, what about playing golf here? It scores slightly less than flog, but it doesn't place this vowel in column 11. The rack leaves okay, the score's rubbish, but I was struggling to find anything better. So, golf for 14. Great, I draw a nice amount of vowels. I have auditors through the A of Tharley. Do I have anything beginning with E? Outsider, Io-Jarrett's suited, outright, none of those works. Is there... I have sternoid through an N, no N's available, and terdions. I have dilutors through the L as a double-double. Fantastic. So auditors and dilutors, they could both be blocked. And they're not. Fantastic. Here we go. Dilutors for 86. This is going to move me into the lead. And this is okay. I've got the I to go with the Q, and I've got the X for score, and I've got a 40-point lead. And now all of the S's have gone. All of the blanks have gone. Looking at the remaining tiles, fairly bingo-y. Still 3 E's to come, and still the J to come. So this could well be a close game. No huge X or Q spots that I can immediately see. Now, not only have I got the I to go with the Q, I've also got A and D to make Cade and Caddy. So there actually is quite a nice Q spot here. 54 points. Opponent could come back with the U to play in row A, but he's only going to match my score, not exceed it. And the rack leave of ESX is pretty good. So, Caddy for 54. And I draw the J, which is great, and the Q. This is looking pretty good, and I have a lead of 70 points. 14 tiles in the bag. So, do I have a Q play? I don't think I do, but there are no U's left. So I'm not sure my opponent can actually reach the triple word square from the Q. However, what to do with this rack? Although it's nice to have the J and the X, the reason it's nice is usually because you can score with them, and I'm not seeing an obvious scoring spot. I have JEUX on my rack, which would burn both of them. Can't see anywhere for that. Just looking at the floating O of tumour to see if I can get my J or X tripled. Can't see a way of doing that. Well, I could play G on, and maybe I will. It's quite helpful to hang on to the U with this Q spot. Just checking again to see if I've got a play. My opponent could play in column 13, making QI to kill that spot. There are 3 I's to come, but he's not going to score hugely with such a play. I've got Joe and Odd. Wow, opponent changes. Fantastic. Now, what have I got? $11 minutes on my clock, which is good. 14 tiles in the bag still. Just struggling to see scoring spots for my J or my X. Well, I did see the G on spot, and that's pretty good. I'm in quite a good shape with this rack leave. It is the final U, and it's a useful U with the Q. G on scores well, 27 points, and takes out floaters. My opponent could have bingos with what's left, and G on is likely to limit his playable bingos. So G on for 27. Well, I wonder if my opponent just had a rack of vowels when he changed. So, do I have a Q play now? Yes, I do. I have Aquas. 42 points. And the surfeit of vowels is pretty good, given that I have the X and I'm looking to play through the Q. That Q spot could be blocked. So what can I score with my X? Well, I'm pretty much in the same position as I was last time. Wow, look at that. A bingo from my opponent. I wasn't expecting that. He's now only 30 points behind. 4 tiles in the bag. If I play Aquas, I will be emptying the bag. So if I don't empty the bag, I play off 3 tiles. Is there a 3-letter play beginning with the Q? I don't think Quaz is good. Still an I out there, so my opponent could kill that spot. I don't think my opponent's going to be bingoing again with this rack. Aranitic hasn't provided any great X spots, although the X can go in front of either of the I's. And I note that my X can also go on this triple letter square, down from the N of drawn, for Ats and Ox. So if I play Aquas, 42 points, I've got Ox next turn for about 30. So if my opponent doesn't bingo, I'm probably in a decent shape. Okay, pretty good. Vowels to go with the X, and look at my opponent's rack. Pretty ropey. He could pull out a couple of high-scoring plays, though. But I think he's going to struggle. The Y is a quasi-vowel, but the rack as a whole, FIKNV doesn't look like an out-in-2 rack. And there aren't a huge number of scoring spots on this board with those tiles that I can see. And I have a 60-point lead, which is pretty good. 75-point lead, even. And opponent certainly not bingoing with this rack. So I think the game is in the bag. How can I maximise my winning spread? So I've got Axel, placing the X on this triple letter square. Just looking to see if I can get my X underneath the A of Aquas. I don't think I can. So what if that spot is blocked? Well, I have Lex and Lax, parallel to Aranitic. After my opponent plays, I'll be able to see if I have 2 moves left or 1. After he's played, I'll be looking to see if he can go out in 1. I think he might struggle to go out in 2 with this rack. So I could well have 2 plays, in which case I'll be looking to go out in 2. Do I have anything down from the M? All of my vowels go in front of NE. I can't see a play which reaches the double word square. Now, what about column 12? Do I have a play getting the X doubled? I don't. I do have relax on my rack. Can't see anywhere where that plays. So opponent taking a while with this move, but not surprising. It's pretty awful rack for him to be facing when he's 70 points adrift. Okay, so 24 points. He's not going out with this remaining rack. My axle spot remains. So let me see what this scores. 29 points. Can I go out with ORE? ORE and so. ORE and OE. So I can. So this has got a lot to commend it. Is it providing anything fantastic for my opponent? I don't think so. He may score around it, but he's not going to score a huge amount, and he's not going to stop me going out. So where's the best spot for EOR? I would need an I for going after UN, so top right, not available. I've got more and 1, 9 minutes on my clock. 8 points for or and so. 11 for more and 1. Rio also available from this rack. Core E not good. So at the moment, more is the best I've seen. And my opponent has provided a spot for your for 21. Has he provided anything better? I don't think so. So, the final score, 385 to my opponent, 475 to me, a winning margin of 90 points, so pretty good game. Let's see what I missed. It was my opponent to go fast, and he played OE. And this was my rack and, well, just variants on routage, really, with footage also suggested. 65 points G3, that's where I played. Nice rack for my opponent. He's got his stones and other bingos. Now, this was a tricky rack. I3 Bonza, there was a BZ play. Wow, that would have been the one, I think. I played Zap for 42, and actually only 5 points difference, and Bone not hugely different in rack value to EP or AP. So I think Bonza would have been better, but it's not hugely better. Opponent's rack, he plays Miz, and this is my rack. And I play Bonce. Yeah, for 33, and that looks fine. Opponent plays B for 23. Oh, wow, look at this. There is a bingo here. M1 pre-vened through the E of Bonce. Wow. Okay, I missed that. Well done if you saw it. Pre-vened. How irksome. Okay, so I played Pre for 38, which would have been the best play if pre-vened hadn't existed. But that's small comfort. Opponent has multi-age. He also had Orgites and Routages. And my punishment for missing the bingo is this rack. And I played Drawn at E7, and I think that's fine. Opponent Thaloid through an O, no O, no bingo. Plays Tharley, although he could have played Lathy for more. 39 points. My rack, not good. And at this point, I'm 40 points adrift. So what do I do here? I play golf for 14. Not a great score, but the plays which score more have much worse rack leave. So I'm happy with golf. Not a great rack for my opponent. He plays draw. And now I come back into the game. Diluter's the only playable bingo. So delighted that that stayed available. And that propels me to a 40-point lead. Opponent's rack. Nothing great on offer. He plays Tumour for 24. And now I have a good pickup from the bingo. I have Caddy for 54 and a great rack leave. And look at this. My opponent is suddenly 70 points behind with this rack, and it's not good. He changes. What could he have done? Well, yeah, probably could have played through it. I don't know. Maybe he was looking for a bingo. There certainly are bingo lanes on this board. And changing tiles gives you more opportunity for a bingo because the bag is exhausted more slowly. He changes. And now Joe was playable. Oh, wow, because of Joe. That would have been the play. Or would it? Probably not. I think Gion has merit because it scores only 7 points less than Je. It retains the U for a QU play, and it kills bingo lanes with a bingo being my opponent's only hope of winning the game. So I actually preferred Gion, but it would have been nice to have spotted Je. And opponent does have a bingo, which Gion doesn't block. In fact, he has two, K5. Anticize through the S. Okay, which Je would have blocked, but in any event, he would have had Aranitic. So a good spot there. And at this point, I'm winning by 30 points, and that's a pretty significant lead given the remaining tiles and lack of bingo prospects. So I play Aquas for 42. Opponent plays any. What else could he have done? Unify. Okay, but horrible rack leave, so any. He plays any. My rack, Coke, so I didn't see that for 32. I play Axel for 29. Not much difference. Either way, an out is guaranteed. Opponent plays Fikey. And finally, I have Your for 21. So, pretty good game, very close. And then in the end, Diluters turned the game around. It transformed the game. It was the only playable bingo. It took me from being 40 points behind to 40 points up. I drew well following that bingo with all of the remaining power tiles, the Q, J, and X, and I was able to end up by winning by a pretty comfortable margin. But an exciting game. So I hope you enjoyed watching that, and I will see you next time. Now, earlier on in that game, this was the position, and I had a choice between Bonza. This is a choice with hindsight because I hadn't seen it. A choice between Bonza for 47 and Zap for 42. And the question is, or one question is, how do the rack leaves compare of Bone with Ep or App? Is Bone 5 points better than Ep or App? And if not, well, just what is the difference? So, let me pull up cross tables. So this is cross tables, and this is what you see when you go to crosstables.com. Now, if I hover over Learn and then click Leave Evaluator, this comes up. I change TWL to CSW because that's the word list I use in my videos. And here, I put in the rack leave. So, the first rack leave was Bone. After playing Zap. And look at this, Bone is worth minus 0.4. For the purpose of this exercise, you can ignore all these fancy dancing tiles to the right. They show how the rack lever Bone would change if you had one of these on your rack. However, we are interested in simply in the value of the rack leave. So bone is worth minus 0.4. EP 0.9, which is 1.3 points better. And AP minus 0.7. So EP is a better rack leave than bone, and AP is pretty much the same as bone. So given that Bonza scored 5 more points, then you need to add to that the value of the rack leave of EP, which makes it an even better play. But that provided an opportunity to show you how cross tables works. Sometimes when you use it, you're just interested in comparing the rack leaves, in which case you just enter the rack leaves and have a look at their values on the left hand side. But on other times you're interested in some of the information that's available to the right in terms of how other tiles affect the rack leave, especially if these are floaters on the board. So for example, with AP, you can see that the S adds 10.4 points of value. The rack leave of SAP is 10 points better than a rack leave of AP. So ordinarily the S is worth about 8 points, but if you're combining it with AP, it's worth 10 points. So there's quite a lot to look at on cross tables using this particular tool. And it helps you really get a feel for the value of rack leaves, and pretty much on every single move what you're doing is the primary things you're doing are looking at score and rack leave, those two together, to rank plays in order. You're not doing a massive calculation, but what you are doing is saying, with this score, is this play with this score and rack leave better than the score and rack leave from another? You just need to rank the plays. You don't have to numerically rank them. And in order to do that, you certainly do need to have a feel for the value of rack leaves. And one way of getting that feel is to actually plug in the rack leaves into this tool on cross tables and see if your guess as to what a rack leave is worth matches up to the reality. So I hope you find this cross tables facility helpful in improving your game.